What's going on, guys? My name's Zach. My buddy Logan and I own Brothers Chemical. We make installer-friendly wrap removal and fleet restoration chemicals, and we help graphics installers and auto detailers learn the tips and tricks to unwrapping cars without toxic chemicals that'll kill you dead. My buddy Justin over at Atlanta Custom Wraps, that's home of the Dolph camo if you've ever seen that. He invited us to do some filming and help him unwrap a Cybertruck. There's a couple things I was really interested in on unwrapping a Cybertruck. So the first thing is a lot of the photos and video that I've seen show the stainless steel cleaning really tight and leaving a lot of adhesive residue on that stainless. So we were prepared to remove a lot of glue. The second thing I wanted to see on this is this particular truck had a lot of modifications. So the spoiler, fenders, side skirts, they were all wrapped and it was just primered plastic. And that primer likes to hold really tight to the graphics as well. Graphics have been on a couple years, so shouldn't be in too bad of shape. Couple full disclosure here, we do manufacture a couple of the chemicals you'll see in the video. So Vinyl-Off is a vinyl graphic remover. It helps with tough to remove graphics, softens film when used with heat. And Adhesive-Off Pro is our all-purpose adhesive remover. We are going to be using the Pressure on Demand Systems Pod Steamer 2.0 on this removal today. We've been looking at carrying a lot of different steamers. There's a lot of different options out there at a lot of different price points. So we went with the Pod Steamer for a couple of reasons. It is a good pressure steamer versus a steamer that just boils water and continuously runs. So it's got a nice trigger. It's got a lot of different attachments. You can use it on PPF installing. But more importantly, we know Daniel over at Pressure on Demand Systems. We know he stands by his warranty and has replacement parts available. So it's a good, cheap, affordable shop steamer. If you guys want to find that, you can buy it at brotherschemical.com as well. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started on this Cybertruck. All right, so this is basically our removal kit. So I keep all my removal stuff in a bin. You should do that at your shop too. Make sure you can basically tackle anything that comes into your shop. So I've got my extension cord, a good set of gloves. When you're removing, you can get blisters on the back side of your fingers. Rubber gloves, got a heat gun, got a handheld IR heat lamp, got our shop towels, distilled water for our pressure steamer. This is the Pod Steamer 2.0. We've got plenty of big blade scrapers. I've also got some smaller scrapers. And then I've got a paint scraper too, depending on what the glue looks like. And then we've got our chemicals. So we've got Vinyl-Off for some really tough to remove stuff, or if you've got stuff that's cracked up, and then Adhesive-Off Pros are all-purpose adhesive removers. So we've got our chemicals, we've got our towels, 2 different sets of gloves, and 3 ways to generate heat. So if you've got a removal setup in your shop, it should probably look like this, and you'll be at least ready to tackle anything that comes in your shop. All right, so we're working on an unwrap on this Cybertruck today. So when you are starting your peel, especially when you're up close to the windshield or any of these gaskets, always want to start with a steamer. You can use a heat gun or whatever, but we'll start with a steamer on this corner, start picking it and see how this removal goes. It's actually not leaving any glue. Went ahead and moved just to a bigger attachment on the pod steamer. So this is the Jiffy steam blade. It works a little bit differently. It's definitely more robust. Looks like it's got a cast iron housing, and it holds 3 liters of water. So it's gonna have a little bit more of a runtime, but you don't have a trigger. So it's boiling water. And then it just continually runs versus the pod steamer where you've got a trigger. We switched back to our smaller attachment. And like I said, a steamer, especially a pressure steamer like the pod steamer, is the best thing when you're working against these headlights, because you've got this acrylic, or I'm not sure what material Tesla's using on this, but then you've got plastic material right here. So torches and heat guns get really hot. Heat guns are between 500, 700 degrees, just have a heating element and then it blow in that hot air over the surface, where torch is well above 1,000 degrees, whereas a good pressure steamer is going to get extremely hot, but it's never going to get over 220 degrees. It's just science. So you can actually take this smaller tip, it's very hot tip, and place it directly against the plastic without having to worry about it scorching. All right, so we're gonna work real slow right here because I don't want it to break up by the headlights because that'll be a pain in the ass to get off. Can't fit even the smallest attachment, so he took it off, reaching back here. I'm not sure what this material is. It's a plastic. It's holding a little bit tighter than the stainless. It's super tight in there, and you don't want to break the film unless you're gonna have to disassemble this. So get in there and then pull. Just go slow. I started trying to use a heat gun on the fenders to see if it would work any better than the steamer, and it really just didn't. Some of the issues was it was still holding extremely tight to the fender, and then when you get a piece up, the heat gun would shrink it back down. I definitely was not working as fast with the heat gun. We moved to handheld IR to see if that would work any better, and it didn't really. It's kind of the same issues, and you're pulling it up, but then when you try to get your heat back down, it's shrinking out the parts that you've already pulled. With a wet steamer, the film's not getting that hot. It gets 220 and then it stops, and then the areas that have already been removed, they've got water on them and they're a little bit colder, so you're not having that shrink back down. This is the same fender. It's just a primer painted plastic, and then you've got these cameras right here too. So when you're using high heat like a torch or a heat gun, no, that's not good. So the good news is this removal didn't leave a lot of adhesive. So this was Arlon material. I don't exactly know what it was, but this material didn't leave a lot of adhesive. And so we didn't have to deal with any adhesive residue on the stainless steel, which was perfect. But the biggest issue for us was the mod kit. So the spoiler, side skirts, and fenders, there was a front scoop as well on the front. They're all just primered plastic. And so when you install directly to primer plastic, you can leave a lot of adhesive when you're removing, and it just bonds really tight to the primer. So think about it like this. Instead of your film being on top of a clear coat, it's instead on top of primer, which is made to hold really well and make a good chemical bond with your paint. So it was really difficult to remove. The majority of my time removing on this removal was on the mods. So if you've got somebody that's coming in that they've got modifications, the graphics aren't installed directly onto clear coat or whatever, you can plan on that removal taking additional time. The fenders alone, you can see me right here in this fender just taking forever. It was a big pain in the ass. And so it was difficult to remove, but then you could overheat it and leave a lot of glue. So we did have a lot of glue residue left on the primer plastic, took care of that with Adhesive-Off Pro, but the mods definitely slowed us down on this removal. All right, so once I got started, I didn't really expect to need vinyl off in this removal, but after dealing with the fenders, I opted to use it on the side skirts. You've probably seen this product used on severely cracked and degraded film in other videos, like maybe the bagging technique, but you can also use it on intact vinyl to speed the removal without leaving a ton of glue. A little bit goes a long way. I just wiped it directly to the film, allowed it to dwell for a couple minutes, and then I came back with a heat gun to get it super hot before picking an edge and removing. Vinyl off is very unique. It's non-flammable. It's safe for indoor use. You just want to keep it away from exposed plastic and headlights, and watch your overspray. It'll haze these materials. If you catch it, you can remove it with isopropyl alcohol before it dries and you'll be okay. But that's the reason we don't send it with a sprayer. We recommend rolling it on using a brush or using a rag. Vinyl off definitely allowed me to get bigger pulls on the side skirt. The film wasn't breaking, and this method left no glue on the skirt. So that's why it's important to have a lot of tools in your toolkit, various methods to get these graphics off, especially when you may not know what type of film it was, how it was installed. But you want to be able to test out different removal methods to see what's working best. Thanks for joining us and watching this removal of the Cybertruck. Went a lot better than I thought it was going to. The surprising part was I thought the steel was going to take a bunch of adhesive or leave a bunch of adhesive. I thought I didn't know the mods were going to be so difficult to remove. So we spent most of our time on the mods. The stainless was good. I thought the pod steamer went pretty great. Went through a gallon and a half of distilled water on this removal. I had to do 3 refills, but once it depressurized, it heated back up in 8 minutes and I was back ready to start. But thought this was really cool. Just wanted to thank Justin again for having us. If you guys have any questions about wrap removal, fleet restoration, PPF removal, whatever, reach out to us. We love talking about it. And we'll see you guys at brotherschemical.com. Thanks.